Hi, how are ya? Hi. Hi, all right. Welcome to the program. So, today, February 2nd, jeez, I don't even know the day. February 2nd, 2023. Woohoo! I am plugging away. Oh, sorry. Let's start off with this. This is the originals that all the drawings that I did for the page that I just posted. I tend to try to show those as I'm, as I'm putting together pages and moving on to the next one. These are his sexy dance moves. These are walking moves right there. I should have put walking up instead of Tom Jones today. But this is how I go about putting together the images, is it'll just keep drawing them on the same page, scan as I go. And then I put it in computer. So this is a page that I just did. My intention with this page, well, first off, my intention is to take the suggestion from yesterday, which was Andy Wheatley's Christopher Walken ordering a beer and drinking it. So I almost got all the way there. He got a beer, but then he had to dance. So, to be continued. I don't know that I ever will, but that's fun. I like putting to be continued on pages that I may not ever get back to, because I'm a horrible, horrible monster. I'll turn my music down. So anyway, so this is the final page, and it comes from these different random. I tend to do this a lot, where once I've used an image and scanned it, I will immediately, almost immediately draw over it. There's no preciousness for me about my drawings at all. Like the other walk-in, and then Lloyd the bartender is on the same page as the walk-in that I drew yesterday during the show. So anyways, these join the pile. So today, what are we going to do now, Chris? Boy, am I glad you asked. Today's objective is, hold on, I'm going to make Tom stop dancing. He's got to be tired at this point. Okay. All right. So, Christopher Walken Runciman Jr. III. Excellent. I'll take it. I'm going to live it. Anyways, so, yeah, we got incredibly dissimilar hairlines. So this is yesterday's page. Today's suggestion. The day before that was Herdern. I have the technologies by which to show you. I got a lot of files. Yesterday's piece was the UFO piece. And that suggestion was from Salty Snacks. Today's suggestion was from Andy Wheatley. Thank you to both of you guys for those suggestions. They're fun. I try to, from one page to the next, switch the way I'm doing it. Just per scuzz, gotta keep pushing myself. I've drawn a number of books in ballpoint pens, so for me, going to doodling in ballpoint's a common occurrence in my sketchbooks. But I had a lot of fun doing this page, and then I did a little bit of fun things that I learned just how to do while experimenting. I put Chris out of focus in this shot down here, and I put the glass out of focus in this shot as though it was a camera lens. Oh, so, and then I just pushed the envelope even farther. These ladies are all drawn. I have a file there where I drew all these old gals. So after drawing this lady, I just copied her over and over and over again, reversed her, and put her in a chorus line. So I don't know. I might put that chorus line in future drawings, future pages. Why not? Just for no reason at all to have somebody with a chorus line of ladies dancing behind them. Anyhow, so this is the page. My objective is hopefully to make anyone that reads it, because I say right in the title that's Christopher Walken, in case my drawings aren't recognizably Christopher Walken. But the idea is that anyone that reads it from that point forward is going to do their best Christopher Walken impression while they do so. That's my hope. And so when I tried to emulate his language with, so fella, the hard pronunciation points are the capital letters. The full words that are capitalized are the ones that he raises his voice for. This place reminds me of a woman, or of a movie of a woman. So that was the fun, to try to differentiate his dialectic from the guy beside him. So, and like I say, I don't know that I'll ever continue, I don't know that this ever will be continued. So, okay, today's idea. Now, the suggestion is from, hold on, I missed something. Oh, it's Jim. Jim, I was about to mention you. Settle down. Anyways, Jim Luan's suggestion for today is Chuck Norris, fashion runway god. Huh? Chuck Norris, fashion runway god. I better write it down. Jim says he's got one more future one-page suggestion. Here's today's one-page idea. Okay. Now, Jim says he's got one more future page suggestion while he thinks of that. This is our one-page idea for the day. Let me get through this one. I've actually got a backlog of 4 right now, so I'll write it down. But they've been coming in, and which is great. Keep them coming, folks. Courtney Love foils JFK assassination. I just want to spend the entire page explaining to people that her band's name is Hole. It's one of those band names in the history of music where, oh, what are you listening to? Hole. It's the worst name for a band ever. Anyways, okay, so now the idea that Jim has put forward is that I collage this page. So, okay, the first thing I always do is this. When I start a new page, I highlight the previous page, I copy it, and then I hit new on my file and open it up. It's the same size as the previous page. That is Chris's secret way to keeping all your pages the same size. So that's what I do each time. It works for me. Makes me a very, very happy monkey. So I've been assembling a bunch of images. And I'm going to close this. I've been assembling a bunch of images for this because the idea that is presented to me is that would I please collage it. So with that in mind, yeah, of course I will. So note panel or note. So let's just start off here by putting on the magic glove. What the hell? Half it's missing. All right. So what do we got? Chuck Norris, fashion god. Okay, so there's our topic. This is just my notes layer here so that I can scribble some stuff down as I go. And then every other subsequent thing is going to, we're just going to assemble what we find. So I've looked up and I've pulled together a whole bunch of images, and hopefully, so my thought today by doing this digitally, and my thought in approaching this, well, from assembling images that are online, Now I'll look at resource images. I will. Anybody that says they don't might be lying. So it helps you. It helps you understand the form of something. But break down from your source image the compositional elements of it, the principal elements of the drawing, and then put it away. Figure out your lighting, figure out all the definition of it yourself, do your coloring yourself. But in this case, the idea is that we do Chuck Norris, fashion guide, in a collage format. So first, I've been pulling stuff down. There's two ways I'll drop it over. I will bring it over as a layer, like so, or I'll copy it and drop it over, which is where I just do this. And you can see I dragged the marching ants all over the whole sucker. Go up into copy, go back to the original page. Oops, I'm going to get rid of you for kill the confusion. And then paste it. It's the same result. Okay, so there's neither here nor there of which is the right one. Okie dokie? Okie dokie, Chris. So I'm just going to kill one of those. All right, so I have put together some stuff for Chuck Norris, fashion god, to use. There's another Chuck Cosell. Howard Cosell, sorry. I've got some images of Chuck that we can take a look at and go through. I'm just going to open a bunch of these right now, and then I'll start dumping them onto our page. Okay. So the idea here is I'm going to quick assemble this as what could potentially be used by somebody as a resource, first and foremost. But at the same time, we're going to push the boundaries of that, and I'm going to get funky. I'm just going to get through my Chuck fight moves. He does his movie. He does his dance moves. Yeah. And then two more, and then I'll get to the next part in a second. So this is the runway setup, which for whatever reason has guidelines on it. That's all right. Doesn't matter. What else was I looking for? Another runway. There we go. Okay, so back to our page. So with Chuck Norris Fashion God, clearly we got to pull in our Chuck image and use that for our principal. I'm just going to start dumping things in here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And then I'm just going to clear things off as I go so that I don't have 60 things on here. Wrong page. If anybody has any questions or thoughts, let me know. I've written this one-page suggestion that you gave me, Jim, down, so that that has gone into the list. Okay, so I'm just putting some Chuck faces together. Chuck face sounds like suck face. Just saying. So I'm gonna keep this as a whole image. Ideally, I just want the Chuck, but I'm going to keep it as a whole image because it's got that cool brick pattern in behind. So I'm going to actually leave that one open. Look at the size of that man's foot. Where are we at now? So some of the images, when you're finding them, they might have overlapping information from other characters or the like. And that's fine. That's fine because this isn't a this is a cut and paste exercise, sure, but in our cut and paste exercise, yeah, right there. In our cut and paste exercise, we're going to be doing a lot of manipulation. So So I just pulled out the chuck that I wanted out of that. I just put the marching ant specifically around him. And this big set shot. And then another set shot. You gotta have a couple, right? I don't know if I copied that. Okay, so I don't think I need you anymore. Yeah, just leave you open for the bricks. All right, I'm gonna close yesterday's page so I don't monkey it up. But here's our principal page. So I've got all of these elements now. What's this? So I'm just going to name them as I go. Runway 2. So now I'm not sure how everybody else works. I really am not. Half of my stuff is from my my noggin, and then the other half of the stuff is from, I'll source images. I'll sit down watching a TV show, drawing. You know, there's whatever process works for you, whatever process that you need for assembling. I'm gonna write down that as brick as well. Whatever works for you and your process of putting together a page, it's the right way. This is what punch, I call that punch camera. And the reason that I'm naming these suckers handsome is so that I can quick source through these suckers now. And then this is Howard. So let's start with Howard. And so Control T pulls up our Howard. I'll leave that as an image. Whoops. I'm just going to shove him over there. So we can start. So there's, just in our choosing of images, by even putting together a shot of a ringside announcer sort of gives you an idea of what the sort of notion that we're going to play with here. I'll try to also do this where I keep the images, the source images in order of the panels. So I don't know if I'm going to even use handsome. And Chuck Punch is I'm going to throw down here just cause, right? Here's our Chuck ready brick, Chuck high kick, Chuck kick, Chuck punch, runway. Okay, so runway is what I want next. Announcers, the other announcers image is going to be at a midpoint in the page where they're sort of giving commentary on what's going on. So I'll leave that there. But the runway, the first runway, is going to basically be something that we can use as our backgrounds. So it's just a generic, image of a crowd or assembled around a runway. So I'm just going to throw this here for a moment, and then I'm going to drop it in the order of layers down to the bottom so that everybody else is sticking on top, because I'm not using this yet because this is the background. And the background, in all honesty, it just contextually supports what's going on in front of it, what's at the face of the camera. So while we've got all of this stuff together with the Chuck punch, Chuck kicks, so on and so forth, okay, we're going to leave that stuff there for the moment. And I'm going to drop the second runway down below the first just because it doesn't matter right now. Now, Handsome counts because now I remember what I was going to do. Handsome. I'm going to pull him up by Howard and make him larger. Control T, and then I hold the shift button down while I drag at the corner to make an image larger, so that this is what I do with a lot of resizing of my panel, so that the perspective doesn't get warped and shifted around. Control T makes it size up universally, right? So there's our handsome picture of Chuck, and that's just we put him over there with Howard. Oh, they look so cute together. So back into all the random crap that I gather up here. Yeah, look, there's Frank. Hey, everybody, it's Frank. I'm gonna mail you those, Frank. I know. I'm sorry. Okay, models. Now I found some fun model images for 70s clothing. If anybody can guess what my intention is with this page, please feel free to type it in the comments. So it's just random 70s people walking. That's our first and foremost. I don't want to give away the second half yet. As much as this is a collage, there is going to be a degree of me. Yeah, okay, I'm going to leave that for now. All right, so as much as there is a degree of understanding that this is a 1970s thing where it's supposed to be a fashion show, I can't stick to that. I can't stick to any specific, it's only this notion. So now I've drawn those resources together here. Get rid of all those so I don't have 60 folders open. Bad enough, I've got a bazillion here. So let's start with this one. So I'm going to chop away a whole bunch of this because it doesn't matter. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I'm just doing quick chopping away of the background. Not overly concerned about how close it is. In fact, knowing me, I might not even go right around the contours of the characters because, again, you know, as much as it's collaging and as much as it's assembling these images, I don't want to sit here cutting it all out. That's not how I work. But if anybody can try to guess what my angle on Chuck Norris runway, what is it? Oh, we got to guess. What's Jim say? Is the reveal going to be that they're worshiping Chuck? No. Good guess, though, Jim. All right, so just snapping off little extra bits around the person. Now I know I can sit here and do the one tool that lets me actually run around the contour of them. But again, I don't know if I'm even going to bother doing that. I'm the kind of guy that'll just stick one thing over top another and paint the difference faster than I will farting around cutting it all out. So I'm complicated like that. That's why my friends call me Whiskers. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with the ideas that have been coming forward for the one-page suggestions. I'm really enjoying that. I am creatively on fire right now. I'll show you. Ready? Oh, that's so bad. Anyways, I got a chance last night to watch Philip Chandler's. He did a live stream last night with his two friends, and they talked about all the ways that they want to try to make money at the different avenues. It's really interesting to hear all these different perspective ways for independent creators to try to facilitate getting some income generation going. And I thought that was really interesting to watch. But that's right. They're holding cartons of milk. I don't ask why. I just find, oh, big hair. So just doing this quick chopping around the edge. There's Gary Hodges. How you doing, Gary? They a fun little game we're playing right now. Well, I don't know. It's fun for me. Is if you can, by looking at what I've got in this collage page that I'm going to do for Jim, if you can look at the imagery that I'm assembling and the title and try to figure out what my take is going to be on this page. I figure, why not? Why not look at that? Anyhow, the show that the streaming that Phil did last night with his friends is interesting to me, because there's just these guys are investigating every avenue that they can think of to try to generate a couple bucks, and good for them. You know, I really want those things to all come together for them and work out. Nice enough guys. I can't remember their names. I'm sorry. I'm terrible at that. But if you get a chance, look at his streaming from last night. And if you're interested in finding out about some possibilities of how you can earn money through coloring books. And it was like they were giving each other motivation. What's your objective goals this year was something they talked about. And I thought, well, there you go, fellas. Is that something I should be thinking about? My objective goals tend to consist of, oh, you know what? I got to go get a sandwich. You know, not a deep thinker. I'm not a deep thinker, folks. Okay, so I haven't really labeled these ladies because I'm going to shake it and break it up. But I'm going to use these girls as our runway models. So, yeah, like I said before, I'm not concerned about their backgrounds. I'll trim it up wherever I need to trim it up. Otherwise, I'll digi paint it out really fast. This is I'll tell you, the thing about being born and raised in the 70s is that there were some ugly clothes. I did a painting once. It was in a gallery years ago. It was called Plaid Was Big in the 70s. And it was a painting of my sister and I sitting on the steps of our house. And we are literally clad head to foot. Winter coats over top of regular clothes, including our shoes, head to foot in plaid. Oh, nightmare fuel. And the painting was called Plaid Was Big in the 70s. Now, I don't want you to think I don't take my art seriously. But, that stuff's funny. I was expecting to get a lot more hate about my fish pun page the other day. I did not. So that sort of tells me that people want more pages with tons of puns on them. I might be reading that wrong. I don't know. All right, get over there. Get in your own space. Okay, so there's our gals for the Fashion Runway Show, part 1. So assembling these elements. So now that I know I've got, oh, it's handsome. Let's take him out. We'll leave Howard where he is for the moment. Take the announcers out, but they'll be back in. Get lost, Chuck. Okay, so where do we want the title? I'm going to incorporate the title into the narration and introduction by old Howard. That's a sad thing, that that today's kids will never get to understand the popularity of a guy like Howard Cosell. This is Howard Cosell. Who are they? Where's the character in today? Where's the character in Howard Cosell's and Casey Kasem's? They're all Ryan Seacrest. And I'm sorry. The guy's a dork. All right, so if we take our runway, I can duplicate the layer to start with. And yeah, let's do that, and we'll bury the one. So now I'm going to take this runway and do what I want with it. So we can we've got that together. And then the ladies, who's first? Boom, 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 boom. All right, I think everybody needs to shrink a little bit. Yell to tell women. Yeah. So when it comes to collaging, there's, I can spend X amount of time looking for the body proportions, or looking for the right movements in the arms, or whatever else it's going to be. Or I think I can I'll just paint it in, but we'll see, because I plan on doing some effects here as well. All right, which one am I on? So we'll take you, put you on your own layer, and then take your original layer and make it disappeared. So now these two girls have their own layers. I'm going to do the same thing with the others. Yeah. And I'm just copying and pasting. And then I go back to the original layer that I just took one off of, and I delete it, so that now they've got their own layers. Whoops, sorry. There we go. And the third layer is this one. Yeah. Same thing, copy and paste. Back to the original. You're out of here. Okay. So now that they all have their own layers, I can move them all about wherever I need them for the fashion show. And but these two are standing at the end. I think I might have one at the end. You get out of there. Actually, you know what? You go there. And then I want at least one walking up. And then I'm going to shrink her down a little bit for scaling. Push her back. Or upstage. Upstage? Is it upstage or downstage? Which is closer to the front? Is that upstage or downstage? Okay, so this bird's in front of that one. And then the other gal that's walking, I can have her coming up as well. I think I'm actually going to use this one. And then we'll shrink her down some more. I think she's, yeah, there. So now we've got the three. So now we've got a sense of, so now there's a sense of scale of the people walking up, right? You know what I didn't look up was looking up something for a second here. I just need somebody facing the other way for a second. Yeah, fine. Found one. Okay. All right. So I'll just open this one up. I should have titled this damn thing. I hate having to search for stuff. There it is. Okay. There. Bye. Okay. So we'll bring her up here. Same size as that one. A little bit. Let's put her in the middle. There we go. Good fun. Fun in the sun, folks. What the hell am I doing? All right, good enough. So, okay, so there's another one. So there's the gist of this panel. I might, hold on a second. I'm going to duplicate this. Excuse me. Excuse me for a second there, ladies. I had a frog in my throat today. Okay. Happy. Now, I'm going to repeat this. So the one that I just cut up, I'm repeating a couple times so that I can, excuse me. I'm going to reverse this one, go into transform, flip horizontal. So now it looks like they're different people. Now, if I were to, I would switch them out. I would, I would cut out around them better. I would, and then here's the third. So now I've got more photographers. And at the end of the day, that's all I really wanted. Just more cameras sticking up there. Okay. So there's that. So I've got all of these elements assembled now for this. Oh, I'm so happy. And yeah, that works. Now, I'm not going to merge my layers here at all yet because I would have to chop this up if it's going to be a finished thing. But there's our first panel. You know what? I better make some effort here. What am I doing? Okay. So I'm just cutting out these little shapes around here. Bear with me. I'm trying to figure this out on the fly. Not a collage guy. I tend to be a just draw it, paint it guy. But I got some John Frusciante on. I'm doing okay. All right. What the hell did I just do? Yeah, yeesh. Woo. My brush or my wand has been really sticky lately. I think I just have the sensitivity on it way too high. All right, so I'm going down to this layer, and I'll just do the same little bit of cleanup in there. And then I'm going to take this one. And I'm going to pull them out. So I've gone into Control T again, and I'm going to switch this person's spot up. There we go. All right. And I'm pressing delete each time I do this, by the way. I'm so sorry. I didn't say that part. So we'll just try to get this image here done. How's that sound? Did it again. Okay. All right. So one little piece. What's the matter with you now? My patience, she has to run out. Okay. All right. So there's the photographers now. So it's, here's the assembling of the image, right? And it just sort of lets me get the composition laid out. But there's our main setting. And just to let you in on it, so what are we, 45 minutes in? We've got all of our elements together because I'm going to take the chucks. Did I pull this one out already? I think I did. Yeah. So the idea is this. I present the scene. Here's Howard Cosell. Tonight, Chuck Norris, fashion god, will be appearing on the runway. So that's the principle. And then, of course, overzealous Chuck in the cocaine 70s is going to kick the tar out of all the other models. And sports commentators are going to commentate on it like it's a sports match. That's it. That's my gist, folks. So back up to our notes level. And just step up our marks a little bit here. Fashion god is the idea. I'm going to get that out of there. So I have to look up how to spell Cosell. But just tonight, you're in for a treat. And then I just don't want to write it again. I'm that lazy. So if I take out if I take some of this imagery here. So my notes are already starting to come together on this. And, good evening, folks. Howard Cosell here. Tonight you're in for a treat. Chuck Norris, Fashion God. Takes to the runway. That sounds good. So by just scribbling this stuff into my notes, takes to the runway. And then, look at these ladies. Look at these models. Let's not. Anyways, so I'm just trying to channel that 1970s Cosell type of, we're in for a treat, folks. This is gonna be the most dramatic night in sporting history. It's that sensationalist way he would announce anything is what I'm going for. And anybody that's old enough to know who Howard Cosell was or had the joy of watching him announce anything. I've seen him on some of the most ridiculous shows in that time period. But he was always Howard Cosell, right? He's almost synonymous with the 70s in sports. So if it's just Chuck Norris was a competitive fighter. Howard Cosell, it's just like yet another random job that Howard Cosell takes on for announcing. In this case, it happens to be a fashion show. So, if you're amusing anybody when you do these funny things, hopefully it's you, because it might not amuse anybody else, but have fun with it is my whole point. So now I've got the photographers all together and the models and everything's in the scale for the stage. Generally what I'll do is that I'll just duplicate every one of these images, delete the original and just save this as a flat. But, let's pull this out for a second. And Howard, and I'm going to pull up another layer for another note. So my idea here okay, so I'm on the layer below my initial notes. So I tend to break my pages down like this within a ½ inch. And in the interior, it's an inch. Okay. So, and of course, these are not proper measurements, but the idea of the ½ inch and the inch gives me the opportunity to have two. It's like a pre-measured format for myself in my head about this is the structural exterior frame of reference, unless I consider it to be going to the bleed right out to the outside edge. And this is the interior. So if I have characters or body parts hanging out outside of a panel, then, I've already pre-measured the panel. And yet that whatever part it is that comes out, I want it to root on that exterior line edge. That's one of the ways that my brain works. And that's one of the ways that I think it helps me to expedite how fast I do pages, because I have this sort of underlying foundational structure or rule set for myself about the assembly of the page. So even when I'm putting together, my plans for a page, even when I'm sitting down and just trying to, consider what it's going to be, what the layout's going to be, I've already got that hard, fast rule about the exterior measurement. Now, 2 days ago, the page that I did, what the heck did I just do? 2 days ago, this page still follows that structural rule to some extent. Now there's a bit of a shaken adjustment to the interior line, but the exterior line runs to that ½ inch, right? And then you can see there's an interior guideline, and it would run behind this guy, the line at the bottom of this panel. There's an interior line over here. None of that really matters when I have a rooted exterior frame of reference, which is what the 1/2 inch border idea is. And so I run that. If you run through the X amount of pages that I have done recently on Instagram and Facebook, you will see examples of how I try to maintain the consistency of that. And that sort of helps as it's just one way then I can align everything together on all these different pages that I do. Like here's yesterday's page. Right? And it has the same 1/2 inch rule. Now, it might not be perfect, but it's still the same half inch rule that runs through the majority of all these pages that I've been doing in the last couple of weeks. So you can see how in some of these panels that there's a sort of existing border shape that runs through all those. I even did the same thing, with the pages that I did with my grandkids. That runs to the bottom line here. These two bottom panels on the right side run to that 1/2 inch. And then there's an interior suggested line that follows here for this panel. But you'll notice that on this side, it runs to the 1/2 inch. It guidelines along the 1/2 inch here. It guidelines along the 1/2 inch here. Again, over here, here, and down here in this corner. So even though it's loose and it has all this play and variation, there's still that sneaky structure that's hidden inside of it. And so bearing that in mind, go away. So bearing that in mind and having those little grids drawn down for you, these ones here, the interior of these hash marks is arbitrary. It's whatever shape is the most comfortable and the most aesthetically balancing, so that there's a sense of organized chaos to it. There's a sense of symmetry throughout the image. But the exterior line, I try to maintain universally through all the pages that I'm doing. That's why I have no pages that it's just complete bleed edge. Because I find that the problem when you read a lot of the modern comics, some of them really lose the foundational rule when they'll have this page is a full page image where so-and-so is kicking to the edge. That's fine. But then the next page, there's another gigantic pinup page, but it has a border on it. And there's the two examples, and then everything subsequently can be one or the other variations through your pages, right? Except for the fact that that's a transitional shift that's too far. You've got a full page that runs right to bleed edge, and the next page is bordered. Whatever that next page is in your book, if it doesn't have 1/2 and 1/2 of that, you've broken the rules of your own thing because you're leaning one way or the other. So it's best to just try to figure out some sort of unifying factor that runs through all the pages of your book. Now, maybe that's just me. I don't know. But it helps for me to expedite the process in my head because I know there's going to be external edge. So I've already got my established frame of reference. Whoops, I turned on one of the models. Where does that one from? There it is. Okay, so here we are on, level 8. The Howard Cosell. Good evening, folks. Howard Cosell, blah, 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 right? And it's going to be dialogue, and then the title is in a dialogue balloon. Okay, so then the next panel with all those elements that we've put together, because we've got Howard, and Howard can run to this outside edge line here, except for the fact that he can't. I need all that space for dialogue. So if Howard's face is here, we'll run the top of that image to there, but we're going to leave this space over here open like we have there. And the reason for that is that's space giving us some area for dialogue. Okay, but then that next image that comes up, my pen is way too sensitive right now. Yeah, I'm going to throw it across the room. The rage taking over. Okay, so if Howard's here, that next image that this is the base part of that scene, we can have it move down. So if am I still on layer 8? So in my layer 8 node, this is where this secondary line comes in. So I can move this image down to here. And I can bump it in on this side here. This is where the larger than life letters for the title are going to be compared to the rest of the dialogue balloons that are coming from Howard. But we're having Howard introduce the thing because he's introducing what is ostensibly the fight. So if we introduce our major scene, so here's the setting, we got the models on there, there they are marching. We can continue, and we've got the photographers here. Because this is just source elements, we want you to be able to see, here's the gals walking on the runway, right? And we want that. So Howard's I can't believe it. This is my first time doing a fashion show, blah, blah, blah. But we've got a special guest in Chuck Norris. Look at, the look at these models bit is indicative of all that. But that dialogue can now run through as Howard's doing all his blathering as he would normally do. Yeah, there. So I'd put that over there. And the reason I'd put that over there is for movement, makes the eye travel through the page in this sort of arced shape, which is always helpful. So, okay. So like the photographers that I just cut and paste a little bit there, dialogue's going to be going over top of them. Hence, they're not that important. And that gives me a divisional line that, this is the break here compositionally. If I get it anywhere near the screen, it turns something on. So I know that the bottom half of my page is going to be here. From the placement of the dialogue, it has to fit around that image. I can cut some of the top of it off to give some more interesting shapes to make your eye follow downwards, which is it's a subconscious thing that your eye's already forcing its way downwards here, but by dropping the corner there, it just furthers that notion. Maybe that's just me again. Maybe that's not a real thing. So then we have some fun, right? We can have the handsome Chuck picture that I pulled out. I can throw right here, and a special guest tonight, Chuck, Mr. Chuck Norris. And so there's the picture of Chuck with his whole, hand on his or his chin on his hand thing. And then we can put our next panel. So we can cut a break here inside of this space, and then having our next panel underneath these dialogue elements and the Chuck picture. Our next panel, which is the same height as this one, here's Chuck. So here comes Chuck strutting out, right? Here he is now, folks, right? And then we'll put another model so that she's walking in front of him, and that gives that sense that he's walking up the thing behind her. Here he is, folks, And then the remainder of this page. And so the idea that's presented of all this information is I can then take that entire structure and shrink it up to give me some more room for the lower half. But by structuring it all together like that enables me to plot the whole page out. So this is me really just trying to put down on the screen right now what runs through my head. So this whole thing's already happening in my head. Another way you can draw panels, if you're particular, of course, is to put the marching ants down and then to go into your stroke function here and pick a good high number and drop in that panel shape in a much nicer way than the way that I scribble it down. So in case you want to figure out your shapes there, you can start placing your panels. All right, so we've got that stuff together. And so now the idea is For the remaining part of this page, this entire lower half here, Chuck's going to kick the living hell out of every other model, and the commentators are going to be like, look at him go. Chuck Norris still got the kicks and punches that we've known him for in his motion pictures. It's a horrible page. You know, I'm sure that I can get in lots of trouble from somebody saying that's a horribly misogynistic thing. So maybe I'll find some more pictures of male models and put them in there so he beats up both boys and girls. But, you know, because it doesn't matter to me, the characters that are on the stage. What matters to me is my joke. And my joke is that the man himself, Chuck Norris, is about to punch out all these models. And so with that in mind, so that's going to take up this much of the space, right? The punchline here, it's not just going to throw a stroke down for that, right? So now roughly cordon off that amount of space down here at the bottom with this square so that it's going to, that's where that stuff's going to go. And then the punchline, and this is where I go to here, it's going to finish off with Chuck punching the camera. You know, and you could just, all you have to say there is, you know, what, I'm on the wrong setting. I'm sorry. Our cameraman's in trouble. Getting too close to the action. How's that? Now, generally, and this is an age thing that I remember this. Howard Cosell would always sign off. He would wrap it up. Oh my goodness. I didn't even think of that. Thank you very much, Jim. Punchline. Jeez. Oh, if I intend it, it's not funny. But when it just comes out, it's gold, babies. All right. So there we go. The punchline, the final punchline, the final yoke. The last egg to be broken. Anyways, having it finish it off with this. Well, oh, the cameraman's getting too close to the action. You know, it's a fun idea. I mean, it's the kind of idea that you could turn out into a 4-page short story. In all honesty, of just, you know, commentators just commentating on the structure of what's happening in the pages. He's up in the rafters now, everybody. Look out. You know, no, okay. The audience tried to stop him there. And now he's there's chairs just flying around. Like you could just turn this into this far larger and far more involved story just based on its premise alone of pages and pages of Chuck Norris beating people up at a fashion show. I like the notion of it a lot, actually. But, yeah. I know, you know, it was a 1-page. I could put "to be continued" at the bottom, and eventually we'll do it. But for now, it's the principal joke here, the principal punchline is right there on the page. So, and that's really what I'm sort of chasing is the specific idea. The specific notion, the specific joke, whatever it is, just when you get it down, you know, you don't want a lot of fat on that meat. Like you don't want an awful lot of wiggle room on it. You just want to really put it in there nice and quick. So, and then if it's going to be a larger piece, sure, expand on it and keep throwing in more angles. But anyway, so this is going to be a number of upright panels of Chuck Norris just beating people up. And so with that in mind, when I was looking up source images, you've already seen that I pulled up a whole bunch of images of Chuck punching, kicking. Now I've also pulled up a number of images, and this is terrible again, of models falling down. Of models getting knocked left, right, and center, tripping, or here's another one. She's fallen over. I don't know what's going on with any of these, but they're funny. So the idea is to take these images and use those in relationship to Chuck, and where he's smacking these people left, right, and center. And like I say, I'll put a couple of more male models on the walk up, and I'll put a couple more male models in the punch up, because that way it doesn't feel like it's just a guy beating up girls. I like things like that. I like the idea of really exploring a notion. I like the idea of really, chasing down a different perspective on stuff. So the reason I pulled so many of those is that so that I could have some variation in where I place them and what they're doing. So here's one more for you. Huh? It's got nothing to do with this page. I just like this picture. Look at that guy. He's so happy. Anyways, I need to get out of my studio more. All right. So same thing as before. It would just literally be a case of clipping and pasting these things and putting them down into the panels. But in the meantime, I've got all these other things to clean up and to get placed around. So now that I've got this figured out about where things are going to go, it allows me to basically size up whatever it is that I'm doing now. And when it comes to these backgrounds, if I'm going to have backgrounds in there, the image that I have here of the stage set up, we can just expand that, rotate that a little bit, do whatever it is that we need to do for it's Fashion Runway God. I got to fix that. That's redundant language then. If it's Fashion Runway God, then I just need to say, I don't need to say, takes to the runway. I can just literally just say Fashion Runway God. Or takes to the air. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's no point in saying runway again. So there's our Howard Cosell set up, so I can place Howard however big that I want or need him to be. But so you can see how some of the elements, because I've plotted out the page and where stuff's going to go, now I can move him over more for the dialogue, and so that I can make the text for the title a little bit bigger. But now that I've got this stuff figured out, it allows me to get going with the structuring of the page. Now, I think, I better look up some of the fellers there. Got a couple of male models here. Oh, there's a ridiculous image. Yeah. This has got a forward and backwards. So there's our walking models. And now I'm looking for, so I've got an image now of fellas that I can put in. Look at that outfit, huh? Oh, good Lord. And now I'm looking at so now I'm looking for pictures of guys wiping out. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun notion to have models, well, it looks like, it's images really of them just slipping around on things. There's a fight scene instead, right? Like, it's, There's more pictures of female models doing it because, of course, a lot of the male models don't have to walk on those heels. I say a lot of because I'm telling you, a lot of them probably do. Fashion world, you look at it and go, nobody wears that. That's the principal reaction, I think. Well, okay, so all right. So I've got a couple of images of guys falling and wiping out. So that's what I'll use for that. So okay, so now that I've got those other elements of the ladies wiping out and the men wiping out, it's going to come together nice and easy now because all of these things are literally oh yeah, I better just stick to my naming sequence. I'll just hit whatever. I'm not too concerned about naming every single thing down a file I get, which is probably why it leads me to have to sort things out for a second. Okay, so there's the falling poses that I need for the men, and then there's a couple of male models walking, and then so now we have all the elements that we need for the page. That's it. Now it's just assembling everything. So, and putting it into this structure, and there's our punchline and joy. I don't know if this is the exciting part to watch though, because once you develop that structure, and once you get that together, where you have an idea of all the different elements that need to happen along the way, then it's just going for it. Then it's just putting it together. So, that tends to help me. So I'll make my little panel notes here. Here's Chuck. Here's Chucky. And then I can put the picture, handsome Chuck. Here he is now, right? Here he is now, right? And then we can have our oh no moment. Chuck misunderstands the event. That whole Chuck Norris because he's Chuck Norris joke is kind of played out for me, so I didn't want to do that. Chuck misunderstands the event. So maybe instead of just having Howard, I should put the two announcers. And this is why, because when you have two announcers to play off of, okay, then it gives you the versatility to sort of say, these guys can speak off of against one another at that point, so that they can say, I've never seen anything like that. How about you? No, myself, not at all. So by putting the two guys together and announcing the event, I think that gives us a little bit more play when it comes to, what exactly the dialogue is doing through the page, because you've got two people talking to each other now. Oh no, Chuck misunderstands the event. And then the other thing you can do in order to sell that is you can give each of them a different dialogue box color. And so then that way, I've only got the two images I've only got the single image of these guys up here. So that, because I've only got that right there, I'm not going to repeat the image of them throughout the whole page because it's unnecessarily complicated. The whole point is him beating up fashion models. So, and then ending with him hitting the cameraman. So what I can do instead is assign a color A for this guy and a color B for that guy for their panels. And so as these two guys are talking, and of course they're interlaced with each other for their dialogue, then that lets me really, really push that function of the two dialogue patterns through the whole page. But I just have to have the balloon with the different colors synonymous to the one that's attached to the guy in the first panel. So now I can have all this disembodied dialogue through the entire page, and you know who's saying it. You know, that's a really, really fun way to apply it. You know, things like that. That's a really fun way to try to look at it from a perspective of how can we focus color into this and have the color allow us to push our layout of our page even farther, right? So this is balloon color A, balloon color B for the guys, and ideally I find out what the first guy's name is, because everybody knows Howard. I'm going to call the other guy Jim, in honor of the guy who suggested this page. So Jim, Howard. All right, good enough. And then, so now it's just a case of, oh, let's finish the dialogue. I'm so sorry. Let's finish the dialogue breakdowns in our notes. So, oh no, Chuck misunderstands the event. Hell of a kick there, you know. And so they just, as much as Chuck misunderstands the event, really knocked that one off the podium. You know, it's just, now they've just become sports commentators. They've just sort of, as much as Chuck has lost his marble, and in this case, it's the 70s, we'll blame it on drugs, alcohol, who knows what. They've just sort of he's fallen into a hat where he thinks he's in a fight competition. They've fallen in a hat where they're just announcing a sporting event that's gone very violent, or a fashion event that's gone to a very violent sporting event. Really knocked that one off the podium. And he's was that double punch there? Known mostly for his kicks. just dumb. Or that's you know what? We don't need to get more into that. Let's contextualize it and build it up for the final punchline. Thank you, Jim. All right. So double punch there, and looks like he's going into the audience. I don't know what it's called. What's it called? People that go to a fashion show. Look like he's going into the stands. Let's just call it the stands. To hell with it. These people are unprepared, you know. What is that? Somebody said something. What's it? Oh, okay. No, it's Phil. Hey, buddy. How you doing? You're late. It's over. I'm all done now. No, it's not true. Looks like he's going into the stands. Look at him go. You know, just nonsense, right? He's really carried away here. So, you know what I can actually do is, if we take this panel, the Chuck punch image, okay, and if I move it over a little bit and push, you know, the size of this panel to be the same as all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can fit 6 panels across this bottom now. And so the final panel, oopsie-daisy, which is going to be just a black panel, right? And because in the previous panel, he's going to punch the cameraman, and that's it. It's over. You know, so if I look at it, what have I done? Yeah, I know what I've done. Wrong layer, folks. There we go. So if I switch this one over, he's really carried away there. And then we'll just say flat out, cameraman's got, cameraman got too close. And then so, and if I put the text so that it moves into the black area here, that's why the page has gone black. Technical difficulties. That's a good one. That's a good one, Gary. Thanks you very much. Let's drop that into that last panel. That'll be our last piece of dialogue. Looks like we're having some technical difficulties, folks. Back after this commercial. He makes himself laugh. He's an idiot. I just, the whole back after this commercial, just to me, just what's fun about back after this commercial to me is that whatever the next page I draw is, if I structure that as a commercial and put it in the next place in the book, it just sort of plays on that convention a little bit. And I like that a lot. Yeah, so we'll do six equal panels across the bottom, and then we'll do say I'm ready to draw this, and meanwhile I gotta collage it. Okay, so we've got our layout, we've got our notes down for it, we've got the announcers. So I'll move the announcers up to the top. They'll be our first panel. I'm going to take Howard out, the Howard image that I had, because you know what, maybe not. Maybe I'll make it one of the 6. So we'll pull this down here to potentially be a break, because if we've got 2, 3, 2, I'll think about it. Anyways, we'll just set it there for now and drop that down to just above the Chuck Punch camera. So that leaves us, and then the handsome, I'll place that because in our breakdown, we know that the handsome image is much reduced. And then we can put a handsome picture of Chuck. Here's what we've got in the show today, folks. So what I need is a picture of Chuck Norris walking for this panel to come together. That's good there. And I'm going to move handsome on up because it's going to have to sit over top of the existing panel that's underneath. And so these, nope, yep. So we'll take this lady out. We'll take this lady out, and we will use them in the next one. And we'll use her in the next one. So there's this panel has also got the runway camera people, the runway image. And so what I'll do is I'll cut this out properly, mat it together. Oh, what are we saying? Thanks, everyone who popped onto the stream last night. Man, I did not realize your show was going to be that provocative, Philip. Holy camole. Whoa, Philip, your language. No, I'm joking. It was really good. It was really good. I learned all about ways to make money from coloring books. And and I'm not saying that in a condescending way. It's just the tone of my voice. I really thought that was interesting, the insight into the three is talking about a potential avenue of income. And the 3 is really chasing after it and really breaking it down for each other. It's very generous for the 3 of you to share so equally about that and about the lighting setup of the other fella. And good on you. That's it, folks. We're all in this here together. We're all in the same fight. Okay, so I'm going to clean up around the edges of these ones so that I can trim these images down so then we can get them onto the same plane. And then I'm going to get into, and I'm going to trim around the photographers, which is the really dull part. So I don't know if anybody really wants to watch this. Now that we've structured this out, does anybody really want to watch me do that part since you got the idea of how it's going to go? Because I don't mind. I'll do that. I don't care. Well, let's go into here. Okay. So I'll duplicate the layer. I'll throw another layer in between. And so now when I'm on that top layer and I'm erasing everything out around this person so that we can eliminate all this information that we don't need, so that we can just bring this over and drop it into our composition on the other page. I think this might be a picture of Jefferson Airplane because she looks like she's slipping on the slick concert stage there. Huh? Jefferson Airplane, they used to have slick stage. So it's slick in front of the band? No? Grace Slick? Anybody? No. I didn't really expect that. I didn't know Enrique was doing that. Well, no, I'm just saying it was good that you guys are talking about ways to make money. As soon as Phil started getting into that whole croc talk, I was out. No, that's not why. I was just tired. I needed to go to bed. But so I had to get up this morning at 7 a.m. 7 a.m.? Why so early? Glad you asked. Garbage day. Garbage day? Oh, that sounds fabulous. It is. Because I had it all ready the night before, because I am an eager beaver. There's few things worse than when you're half awake and you have to go around the house making sure you have everything that should go out on garbage day gathered up. Because I promise you, that's I'm going to leave half of it. Really sloppy at this. I'm using a mouse because my pen is being really titchy right now. So this is a change for me, though, to be using this part of the process, because for me, I'll look up a resource picture, but I'll do all that fast editing myself in the execution of the drawing. Whereas here, I've got to put it together as a collage. You're like, why is that, Chris? Because Jim told me I had to. Do it the way I want it done, pal. You do it the way I want it done, or I'll put you in one of my cartoons and make it really unflattering. Right, so there's that. So now when I drop this down over top of our image, go over here where the layers are and plunk her in, she's already ready to go. So see if we can bring her in here. And let's have him falling forward. It's always good when somebody's getting kicked in the back of the head. So then we don't need this now. Nope. Yeah, so that's, Oh, yike. There's a 7 a.m. now? What are you talking about? You stay up till 7 all the time. 7 a.m. That's that time where you're like, oh, boy. It's getting late. I should go to bed. I wonder why nobody's out here online. Yeah. So I had thought about using this image for the audience initially. But this will do. I hope you know Squatch, Gary. I see. It's fun. The funny thing about the Squatch comments and the Squatch, I don't know if you've even ever met Squatch. I don't know if you guys are, who this person is, outside of them constantly coming on to harass you. Because if you don't, that's funnier to me. But I know it's not actually very funny, but I'm a horrible monster. Right. Okay, so there's another one. Oh my. Oh man. Sorry. That's very bold. That's very bold to go and to give somebody such a hard time when you haven't really met. No. Okay, so here's this one. So I'm just throwing these people down various places where I'll be putting the checks. So the whole notion then is to take whatever I can. I forgot to do the duplicate layer business. So the whole notion is to take whatever I can of these images, and you know what? I'm going to have this one calmly walking until she realizes she's about to get kicked in the head. So it's different for me. This is a really different way of working for me because I'm just so used to just attacking. I'm going to attack that paper. Not even going to see it coming. Look out, paper. You're about to get it. Oh, my thing is a buzzing. What's Jim, to become a proper squash, you need to start harassing and hassling Chris. Work faster. Why aren't you working? Well, Jim, if I could advocate on my own behalf before you settle into this bad idea that the horrible influence that Gary is on you. We talked last night about or the other night about my the fact that I'm too big to fit in cars and stuff. But that's not what I really want to get to the meat of here. If you start contacting me and harassing me like that, I very well may start crying, and you'll hurt my feelings. And my mom says that's not nice. And I'll tell my big sister, she'll come beat you up. Stupid pen. Yeah, see? My pen is being a spaz. You don't want me crying. I've got a very specific set of skills for dealing with people that pick on a person like that. One is curling up in a ball, hugging my knees to my chest and crying. Another one is running away. And let's not forget my main weapon in my arsenal here. Closing my eyes and just denying anything's happening. No. Oh, no. 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 Yeah, I think this will be the first one over here. So I'm going to move this bird around. Boy, those girls are dull. And that'll be our Chuck's first stripe. Which one's old wobbly knees there? There she is. Oh, lovely knees. Yeah, that's good. Right. Nope. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun. It's very, very crafty. I'm very crafty. I'm so crafty, and they call me Miss Jackson because I'm crafty. Fetal position under the bed with a pie is how I deal. Really? What kind of pie? That's how we'll tell if that's true or not. The flavor of pie. And if you switch up and tell me that it's cake right now, we're through. Not me. I just rock back and forth saying, deeper shade of soul. Da, 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 deeper. That's how I deal. Everybody's got their method. Oh, look out. So much faster for me. Shut up. My lack of expertise at this, it's got to be infuriating to people that are really good at doing whatever it's called that I'm doing right now. Lassoing it. Lassoing. Rolling, rolling, rolling. It's fetal position under the bed is with a pie is how I deal. And then Philip says, I can't share too many details or I'll expose my weaknesses. Yeah. Well, I didn't want to expose my real way of coping with any kind of physical threat. Isn't to just take my years of experience as a bouncer at bars or my gorilla size. It's just curl up singing funk songs, or it's to just shout, I'm gonna tell, and running the opposite direction. Did I lose that? Well, that was, no, there she is. Get up here. All right. There's one more. I found this one kind of funny. Just like, oh. So now I've got all the chucks. I've got all the, so I don't need to do all of these ones yet. But I've got all the chucks to the rest will be guys, I think. Oh, I might use that one. Yeah. I'm going to close this out. I'm not going to use the brick wall. Yeah. So the little overhangs of the panels and the little bits of business like that, the whole idea there is, of course, you cut right down here so that if this panel is going to feature Howard, I might, looking at it, I think it might be more fun to have Howard placed. I'll just show you. So if I take Howard and I have him up here, I can actually put a break in the panels. But I don't want people to start looking down. So that, maybe I'll put Howard in a panel down here. Ideally it should be both of them. I'll figure that out. Yeah, I know what I'll do. I know what I'll do. I know. Curb it. Or go here and pass it up. Oh, come on over here. And then we'll switch them. We'll flip them. We're just going to smidge them. Whoa. Hey, whoa. That was fun. All right, so now I can put the dialogue of these two in the page. Can you believe what's happening over here? No, I cannot, folks. In all my years of broadcast journalism, it'll be yeah. This one. Good. Okay. Yeah. So I have the two guys doing their commentary during the fights. There we go. As the people are all stumbling around like a bunch of ninnies. Better name that Jim. I should just look that guy's name up. That's not very fair. Just calling him an arbitrary name. There we go. So now they're on top. Okay. So it's just sort of plugging it together to sort of figure out how all these elements assemble into one. And then it starts becoming, and what I'll get into, I'm coming up on 2 hours, so I'm not going to really get into this because I got some limits. But I can go into all of these filters and I can start monkeying around with the surfaces here and playing with, I think what I'll just end up doing is, I can't remember which one it is, but it's basically like putting sand, mixing sand up on everything else. But what I mean by that is that it filters the entire image to look like it's sort of granulated. I think that's where I was going with it. So I'm going to do a bit of that sort of stuff and, play with that a little bit and have some fun. I tried it out today. Well, yesterday, in the page that I did. Well, I don't need you open anymore. In today's page, I tried it out here. Open. And this last two panels is I did a whole bunch of effects and granulated it all up, and then I had to paint the entirety of the floor and paint out a whole bunch of elements, matching colors, just picking colors from inside the same composition, and then taking other parts of the composition, taking them off, and then putting them down as a whole separate layer. So yeah, I tried that out specifically because I knew I needed to have Chuck Norris beating up a whole bunch of people today. So yeah, I don't know how many layers. That's more layers than I've ever had open, I think, on an image. So wowie, it's a lot. All right, well, I can I've got some more of the fellas here to put together and put those guys on the images. They're getting beat up. And then I've got an image of these two boys up on the stage in the earliest scene. She's going to be in an image once people start getting knocked over. But I'll put the two boys up on the stage as models as well. And then what is this? It's the whole first 2/3. So I guess you're just working. Well, the whole request with this one-page comic is for it to be done as a collage, which is shorter. So I'm finding this. So let me spend the rest of my time at doing this. Here's the thing about doing collage art or taking, this is only from doing this today, okay? Because this isn't how I do. But the thing about doing collage art, as opposed to just sitting down and drawing the page, I'm thinking is that there's so much little bits of labor to have to do in this process. Just like taking a ballpoint pen and the little labors that are involved in drawing all of the scenes and the characters in correlation to each other and all that sort of stuff. But it depends on how fast you draw in that context, right? And in this context, it depends on how fast you can do these outlining of these characters, do the breakdown of composition, develop a plot or a story to run through as a through line for it. And then you have to find all of because you're doing it as a collage, you got to find all of the characters that, are going to be in your piece, and all of the characters in the contextual way that they're going to be shown. Like there's a nice, easy thing about taking out just give me a second. I'll take out all the people walking on the stage and all of these flip-floppers. And so what is going to be nice is that when I have this tightened up and cleaned up so that I can put in and take out different elements of this image, much like the Depeche Mode piece. Pardon me. Excuse me. Much like the Depeche Mode piece, I can reutilize elements from this assembly in numerous different ways in the different panels. Like I can keep putting different positionings of this background runway onto those lower panels where Chuck Norris is kicking everybody in the face. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a very different headspace to work digitally than it is to work traditionally. Yes. But in addition to that, when it comes to the design aspect of things, which you don't necessarily consider when you're just a penciler and inker or a colorist, you don't consider the editorial aspect of putting your image together. Maybe you do as an artist to rescale characters or things that you've drawn into the right place and right position on your page. But looking at this from the angle of like graphic design, there's just so much intensity to so much little small fiddly bits about editing this and just putting this there and scaling this and scaling that and seeing if your light sources are in any way, shape, or form reminiscent of the rest of the parts of an image. Like all those little factors from the graphic design, purview is the stuff to develop for this. And so that means I now have to go through. Let's see if I can get them all to appear. Well, that's the other runway. There's Chuck punching. There's the Chuck kicking a brick. Here's Chuck's high kick. Here's Chuck kicking. Here's one of Chuck's punches. Here's these other runway characters that got to be put up on a runway shot in the corner. And then I'm going to stretch the perspective on the stage so that it looks like it's a different angle and it's a different close-up on the shot, so that the camera is moving around so we keep the viewer more entertained and more interested because the camera action is moving in and out. So, but I got to cut out every one of these things cleanly before I can go to the final assembly of everything. So in that regard, this is far more labor to me than just drawing a comic. But that's okay. That's the whole thing I'm talking about when it comes to making books. That's the whole thing I'm talking about when it comes to making any kind of art, is that even if it's something that's outside of the comfortable wheelhouse that you operate in creatively, dancing around about it means it's never going to get done, right? Just getting into it, just getting into the mix and throwing paint at the wall and seeing what sticks on it, is far more beneficial because you really just get through it. Just get through it enough so that you can get on to the next thing and subsequently the next thing and the next thing. So I'll be playing with this for the next few hours. But as for right now, I need to do all of my my insulin stuff. So I'm going to wrap it up at this point. So it's an exciting opportunity. It's an exciting project. I hope that the end result is good enough. I don't collage things. I don't do what I'm doing like this when I'm doing my normal pages, because honestly, for the long time, I thought it's cheating. But so I don't do this where you're taking actual reference images and using those for your composition. I tend to be the guy who looks at the reference and then just draws it. So this is really exciting. It's really pushing me outside of the way I associate my images and my comfort zone. So I'm going to pursue this and continue on. Thanks for everybody that came out today. Sorry, I look at the camera when I say that so it doesn't look like I'm a jerk. Thanks for everybody that came out today. Thanks for everybody in the comments. This is fun. It's a very different thing. But if there's anything that I think that what we've put together so far helps people with, is maybe the fact of how to break down a page, how to keep a universal principle going from one page to the next in a really incongruous book of shorts. And then most specifically in this case, it's one-page shorts, but how to keep a consistent border edge or border guideline for all of your pages that you work on is how I'm going about doing that. And so it's a 1/2-inch guide around the outside, and then an internal another 1/2-inch guide as well. And if you look through all the pages that I've been posting, especially in the last so many weeks, they all have it. So yeah, this is fun. I'm having a good time. I'm really enjoying it. But like I said, I gotta excuse myself at this point. So thanks everybody for coming out. I will be back, I believe, at 2:00 tomorrow. I think so. Depends. See what comes up. We're helping Lori's parents right now, so I may have to step aside. But either way, I will post this tomorrow so that people can see the finished page. And then tomorrow's page that I'll be starting at least is Sam the Private Eye meets the Men in Black from DVSM 1975. Also starring Paul Pate. So that'll be Friday's page that'll get started. So very fun. Thank you, Philip. You're still there. It's very nice of you. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody. Get creating. Bye for now.